Okay, good afternoon, everybody. We are here today to talk a bit about alliances within conversational AI and how that's important for how you're going to be building out your solutions in this AI space. Joining us today is also Shweta from Microsoft. She'll introduce herself in a moment. I'm Per Ottosson. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Artificial Solutions. And Artificial Solutions is a builder of solutions within conversational AI in the Azure space, together with LUIS, the intent engine, natural language processing engine of Microsoft. We have been around for quite some time, about 20 years. And the last few years, we've been working together with Microsoft in the Azure space and are a partner of theirs. And therefore, Shweta is also joining us in this keynote today. So Shweta, maybe you want to introduce yourself?
Thank you. I'm Shweta Bhatt. I'm the data and AI specialist in Microsoft, and my role is really to help our global accounts in embracing digital transformation and how they can really understand the application of AI, leverage the value of the data across their digital transformation journey. Thank you so much for having me today.
Excellent. Welcome very much. So the conversational AI space, we have quite a few Microsoft global accounts working with this solution. And the reason that we believe it's important for alliances is that the space is very fragmented today. And it's easy for you to get managers to come to you and say, oh, you should do this with Google, you should do this with Nuance, you should do this with Facebook, you should do with ServiceNow, with Salesforce. And you all know, who are sitting here today, that that's not going to work out. So what we decided is that the best way is to partner up and we have the best of breed enterprise development platform. So it's an integrated development platform. Microsoft has the best tools on the cloud side and on the natural language side. And then we have a dialogue management engine where you can run this whole solution. And by doing that, we believe that you get the future proofing of Azure, which is by far the best cloud solution for you. At the same time, you don't need to work with all these others. You can integrate the other systems through cloud-based or on-prem APIs, which are all provided in our platform. So it's a space which is very fragmented, high competition. Lots of your people, your managers, going to come to you and say, oh, I found this great new solution. But with this, together with LUIS to the power of Teneo and Microsoft, you're going to be able to find a way through navigating through that highly fragmented competitive landscape. So that's what we're talking about today. I do want to share a bit about how McKinsey views this. And the reason for that is that I believe that McKinsey has a great research in why you should be investing in the AI space. And what you find is that companies that have good projects within AI, saying that they make money on that, also have a better overall performance. So if you're working in a company today with great AI projects, you're going to have a better EBITDA or a better profit as well in your company. And the two traits that really make that different is that you have an overall leadership. So chief executive, or at least a C-suite, understanding what you're doing and supporting it. And even better, if you have a coach in that C-suite. If you have that, you're going to find that you're going to be more successful in your AI, and that is going to lead to higher profits, which of course is going to be better success for you as an individual. So a bit of a background on what is conversational AI to kick off with. Conversational AI is you have a customer, a user, an employee, a citizen, and they come in and they request something. That might be a request for information. It might be a request for a decision, an action. Maybe you just want to have a copy of your invoice. Maybe you want to buy a new iPhone. Maybe you want to change or send money to a different bank account. All of that needs to be interpreted, what that means. And that's where conversational AI platforms come in. So with LUIS to the power Teneo, you'll be able to make sense of what that user said of your system and then take action on it. So it might be that a great example is that Swisscom today, you can call their hotline and say, I really want to order the new iPhone 13. They will know from your phone number who you are, and you'll have a quick conversation about what data plan you want, and then they'll send you a link and you can just quickly order the iPhone 13 without having to wait to talk to a human. That's a great example of conversational AI in action. The drivers for this today is that you want to have a reduced cost in some instances, but more importantly is probably to reduce the churn, get more new customers, and increase the employee or customer satisfaction. Swisscom has increased, for example, their net promoter score by implementing the solution into their IVR, into their TV box, and also into a chat solution that they use today. You see some examples here. It's used across all types of verticals, all types of customers. And that's also the interesting part, of course, with partnering up with Microsoft. If you're a Microsoft Azure customer, you'll find that the easiest way to build is to build everything on Azure, because that means you have a trustworthy source where you can also geofence your solution. So if you need it to be within Switzerland or within EU or within the US, you can easily make that happen in the Azure platform. So those are some of the examples you see: finance, healthcare, retail, etc. All different examples of using conversational AI today. So we believe that this partnership with Microsoft makes a lot of sense. And we had an interesting, we saw some interesting reports from Gartner and ISG recently, where you take what Microsoft provides, where Microsoft is seen to be disruptive in this space, and what we provide, which is practical. We're really a building platform. We are for the people in your organization or at your partner that's going to be building the solution. Those are the ones we cater for. And then we have the runtime for it. So we're a practical solution, whereas Microsoft is viewed by Gartner as being disruptive. So combining the two, you might say you get something that's practically disruptive, which I think is an interesting positioning. You also see that both Microsoft and Artificial are placed by ISG in the top space, in the leader space in the conversational AI. So combining forces with the two, I think you'll get a future-proof solution, easy to build, quick to develop. And one of our latest developments, which is customer A1 in an Austrian telco, where they in Bulgaria are building a solution quite quickly based on in Bulgarian, based on this technology. I want to show a quick architecture slide so you understand where we fit in. So at the bottom here, you have the gray spaces. That's the backend integrations into our platform. Of course, you have LUIS and the Microsoft Azure Cognitive Services there, and they're readily integrated. The templates, etc., can all be used in building in our integrated development environment. You also have all the other cloud APIs that you want to integrate to. It could be ServiceNow, it could be a Workday, or it could just be an on-prem API, let's say an MQ Series, Red Hat, a UiPath, some kind of bot that you're using. Those are all readily built. You can download them from GitHub and just pull those straight into your solution. You then have the engine. That's our runtime. That's where the conversational API sits. That's where the dialogue management happens. In this runtime, you will also find that it scales quite a lot. So it's obviously Kubernetes based. It's in the Azure cloud. And today we have multi-million sessions per month running in this environment. To the left, you see the different parts of the development environment. It's the studio, the languages, the data, and the developers. Developers is something you can go into today, or developers today. Just Google it and you can go in and start building right away. And it's only when you deploy to a production endpoint that you actually have to start paying for the solution. So you can start building and utilizing all these back and front end integrations straight off the bat. On the top side, of course, you have all the Microsoft bot framework that you can integrate to, but also all sorts of front ends that are already built, like WhatsApp. We have Genesis. We have all sorts of call center as a service platforms coming up that have been built lately. Quite popular to just connect this in and make a conversational IVR instead of having a press 1, press 2, press 3 type IVR. All of that is readily integrated as front-end integration. So essentially combining LUIS, which is of course the cloud-based conversational AI service that applies the machine learning intelligence to conversations, to natural language interactions, which is from Microsoft. Combining that with the studio, the engine, the data, and the language capabilities, supporting 86 languages, you can now start to build and then deploy into this ready-made machine that is already powering millions of interactions. Okay, so with this, you have the complete engine to run these solutions. And what you find today is that you need to have some kind of standard for your AI solutions going forward. You're going to find that if you work with all these hundreds of different AI solutions, it's going to be difficult in the future to migrate to really develop these solutions going forward, which is why we believe that telling your management that you're going for Azure, LUIS, the cognitive services of Microsoft, with a layer of development platform and a runtime from artificial solutions, LUIS to the power Teneo. We believe that's a way of future-proofing, but also explaining to your management that this is really the right way to go from a data protection and a governance perspective. So, Shweta, maybe from a Microsoft perspective, you can explore a bit more about the partnership and why that makes sense for customers before we go into looking into some of the customer cases.
Thank you so much, Per. And I think from Microsoft, everybody knows this, that we have always thrived on partnerships. And really the idea was that platform, when you think of it, it needs to then convert it into the domain knowledge and into the solution, then will then serve the end consumer's need. And that's where Microsoft has always believed in forming a very strategic partnership across all our global industry ISVs to bring their IP into our platform and to really make it enriching with domains that make sense for that industry. And that's where when I see artificial solution, we see that there is a definite need of building a very enriching solution which could understand the nuance of the natural processing languages and then feed it into a digital assistant as we say that how we can really make humanoid kind of bots to really enrich the customer experience when they're interacting with the companies like Swisscom in telecom and media and wherever when you have a customer service as a front end to service the customer. And the three pillars that we really look into when we think of partnership with Microsoft is how we can accelerate impact, how we can really leverage the scale that market has to offer and really help our customers across different channels that they have to deal in terms of their own customers. The second is how we can build a future ready solution. So how we can address the complex needs of modern business by using Microsoft to enrich the IP of our partners, such as artificial solutions here. And finally, differentiation. I think differentiation is the biggest and the most important key here because in market, as you rightly said, that there is plethora of technology available to our customers, and that becomes quite overwhelming sometimes. So what is the key differentiator that we are going to build with our partners to really help our customers zero down or narrow down their choices so that they can kickstart rather than they're just kind of pondering on the choices that they have? So that's where I think that Microsoft is really heading, and we will continue to work with our partners, and that is the key ingredient in our strategy, I would say, as per the leadership team.
Excellent. Excellent. Should we maybe touch on some of those customer cases you mentioned there? So one that we recently also joined us at the summit in London is Swisscom, and Swisscom have come quite far in their journey. A1, they just started together with us, but Swisscom have come quite far. And what Swisscom has done is they started by building a chatbot, and then they moved over to a TV voice assistant. So basically the TV box at Swisscom, instead of using remotes, which people lose all the time and they not quite sure which remote is to what, you could just say, hey, Swisscom, and you can say, I want to watch a movie, I want to see the latest news program, or other things as well in your home. Sort of like an Alexa-based voice assistant, except this is Swisscom's own, with their own voice, their own services, and their own tonality. And that solution then gradually what they moved into is a pure voice-based solution on the IVR side. So today, if you call Swisscom hotline, you're actually talking to a bot built on LUIS Teneo. And this conversational IVR, as they call it, is now also moving to actually take actions themselves. Like the example I talked about earlier about how they're building out the iPhone 13 ordering. In the future, what they're hoping is really full automation across many more use cases, and they're at the future now. So already the IVR is doing all the routing, and that's increased the net promoter score by 18 points. But they're also going to be moving now, as we're talking, into full automation, which I think is quite interesting because many have moved to call center as a service. Many are moving the call centers to the cloud, and especially after COVID, they see that that's absolutely necessary. And if you then add a bot to it and you make sure that that customer experience is instantaneous, because the bot can, of course, respond immediately, this seems to be something that a lot of our customers are doing today. And I think you also see that Microsoft, this with Microsoft customers across the board, right?
Yes, yes. And I think the important thing here is the repeatability. So what you were able to do with Swisscom, it's such a repeatable thing that you can literally replicate it with other media and telecom companies. And not just to that, any other industry where the service is at the front end. And to that, I would also like to mention our work, which has just started with A1, where we are again partnering with artificial solution, and we are very closely working with the customer. So although I say that it has just started, and we still have to achieve the milestones as you have already achieved with Swisscom, and I'm sure we are going to talk about it next year. But that has kind of given us a really good ground in terms of understanding how Microsoft platform can be leveraged to their strength of our partner with our partners for our customers. And as I said, that in A1, we are tackling a Bulgarian language nuance, which is not as, I would say, a common pattern around French or German or English for that matter. So, and that's where we are kind of finding that how there is an opportunity to also partner with our customer, where they are bringing their domain knowledge and their language knowledge in improving our platform. So I think that that's a very, very good case, which probably will, hopefully we'll make it a success, and we will replicate that across different other operational countries of A1. So yes, rightly said.
Fantastic. And another one that it's not just telco media. We have Circle K, for example, which is I believe the world's second largest convenience store retailer, who are also rolling out a solution based on LUIS Teneo and Azure, because they find it's an easier way to interact with their customers. And they're selling things like car wash subscriptions, which I didn't even know existed, based on this technology. So also quite interesting to see that it's spreading not just in the IVR space, not just telco, but actually across many different industries. And I think this is a really key driver. And of course, with Azure, you can find that your data is safe. All the GDPR and all the other things that management is, of course, bugging us all with, is all managed in this ecosystem, which we find at Artificial Solutions just gives a huge advantage to the customer. It's so much faster to deploy. So
Yes.
the real question here is, are you ready to start your conversational AI journey with the partnership between Microsoft and Artificial Solutions? And I think our recommendation, Shweta, would be that they are, right?
Definitely. I think there is a massive, massive opportunity in the market when we talk about AI. And conversational AI is one of those streams that are kind of literally taking a top lead among all the use cases that we see of AI. So yes, definitely. I think that everybody in here, please explore what the artificial solutions combined with Microsoft is capable of, and understand how you can really build upon this capability for your customer services front-end desk.
Excellent. So thank you very much, Shweta. And for all of you, I mean, we're here virtually, but you can of course find us on LinkedIn, or you can find us just on our respective websites. So hopefully, and we'll put some contact details here as well in the presentation, so that you can find us that way and contact us that way. I will actually be live at the event tomorrow. That's Thursday. But today I just couldn't be here. That's why we're there virtually. So thank you very much, all. Thank you, Shweta.
Thank you so much, Per. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.